today we're going to explore a powerful idea that can change the way you attract women, especially as you get older. And you know what's most interesting? It has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with looks. And it definitely has nothing to do with those cheesy pickup lines you find all over the internet. The truth is, these two words activate something much deeper in the female brain, something that triggers emotional connection points that most men don't even know exist. And look, I'm going to tell you exactly what these words are. I'll explain the science behind it, but there's a detail that almost no one notices. And it's exactly this detail that separates the men women forget from the men they can't stop thinking about. Stay with me until the end because this information can completely change the way you communicate. Let me tell you something. For years, I've studied thousands of interactions between men and women. And you know what I realized? The men who attract the most aren't necessarily the best looking. They aren't the richest. They are the ones who master one very simple thing: direct emotional communication. While most men are spinning their wheels in empty conversations trying to please, trying not to offend, the men who really stand out do something radically different. They use two words that act like master keys to the female subconscious. You see, the human brain is hardwired to respond to certain communication patterns. And these two words, when used the right way, create what we call positive emotional anchoring. So let's go. The first word is I want. It sounds too simple, right? But listen to what happens when a man says, I want, with clarity and confidence. First, he is taking responsibility for his own desires. He's not asking for permission. He's not testing the waters. He is being direct. And here's a secret of female psychology. Women are attracted to men who know what they want. Why? Because it signals leadership. It signals that you are capable of making decisions, that you won't dump the responsibility of choosing onto her shoulders. Think about it with me. When you say, I don't know, maybe we could do something later if you want, what are you communicating? Insecurity, fear of rejection, lack of direction. Now compare that with, I want to take you out to dinner on Saturday. I know an incredible place. Feel the difference. You aren't begging, you are leading. You are creating an experience. And look, this isn't about being aggressive. It's about being assertive. It's about having the courage to take up space in the world and say, this is what I want. When you do this, you activate something in her brain called sexual polarity. You position yourself as the masculine force that takes initiative and that naturally awakens the feminine side that wants to be led. The second word, and this is the one that changes everything, is I appreciate. Now, pay attention because this is where the magic really happens. If you only use I want, you can seem egocentric. It might seem like you are only interested in taking something from the interaction. But when you combine I want with I appreciate, you create a perfect balance. You show that you are a man of initiative, but also a man of emotional depth. Let me give you a concrete example. Imagine you are talking to a woman you are interested in. Instead of just saying, I want to see you again, you say, I want to see you again because I really appreciate the way you think. A conversation with you has a depth that is rare. Do you see what happened? You aren't just expressing desire, you are showing that you see her, that you value who she is as a person, and that my friend is absolutely irresistible. Why? Because most men only compliment appearance. They only focus on the physical, but you are going further. You are acknowledging her essence, and here is the most beautiful part. When you appreciate genuinely, you are needing her, you are choosing her. And women can feel that difference from miles away. If this content is making sense to you, leave a like down below. This shows me that you are really committed to leveling up. Now let me tell you about the mistake that destroys all of this. The mistake is using these words without congruence. Do you know what congruence is? It's when your body language, your tone of voice, and your words are all aligned. If you say, I want to take you to dinner, but your shoulders are slumped, you are looking at the floor and your voice is hesitant. The message doesn't get through. Your body is screaming insecurity while your words are trying to project confidence. And the female brain is extremely sensitive to these incongruities. It's like an emotional lie detector. So when you say, I want, you need to be standing tall, looking her in the eyes with your chest open. When you say, I appreciate, you need to pause. Slow down the rhythm of your speech and let the sincerity show through. It is exactly about this depth that I detail in my complete guide, Attraction Secrets, that I teach not only what to say, but how to calibrate your energy, your presence, so that every word that comes out of your mouth carries real emotional weight. And there is one more crucial thing: timing. Look, you clear throat aren't gonna go around saying "I want" and "I appreciate" in every conversation like a robot. That would be weird. You use these words in strategic moments when you really want to establish intent. When you want to create an emotional memory, for example, at the end of a day that was special, you look in her eyes and say, "I want to do this again. I really appreciate the energy you bring." Done. You just created a positive emotional anchor. Now, every time she thinks of you, she'll remember that sensation of being seen, valued, and desired all at the... Have you ever noticed how some women don't flirt in a direct way? Instead, they check your awareness quietly, especially when you are a man over 50. Women act differently around you. They do not want to appear needy. They do not want to seem too easy, so they ask certain things instead. And here is what most men do not understand. A woman who feels drawn to an older man will almost always ask two very specific questions. It is like a message hidden in plain sight. Before I reveal them, do me a small favor. Tap the like button and comment if you have ever missed a woman's signal and only understood it later. Your engagement helps this reach more men who need it. Men over 50 often think they are invisible to younger women or even women their own age, but the truth is completely different. Mature men are often more attractive than ever when they actually understand female behavior. The real problem isn't women, it is misunderstanding. It is moving through life thinking she's just being nice when she was actually inviting you in. Women rarely show interest openly. They test your emotional calm, your presence, and your ability to notice small details. Feminine psychology works in subtle ways. And when a woman begins to view you as someone she can trust emotionally, physically, and intimately, her energy shifts from casual talk to intentional curiosity. She begins asking questions designed to reveal three things: your strength as a man, whether you are steadier and secure, your emotional and practical availability, and your awareness, meaning whether you can recognize genuine interest. This is exactly when the two key questions appear. But to understand why they matter so much, you need to see the psychological truth behind them. Many men over 50 expect clear, simple signs because they were raised in a time when people spoke more directly. But women today, even mature women, express interest in a different way. They do not say, "I am attracted to you, I want to." Emotional maturity versus physical attraction. Get closer. "I am thinking of you romantically." Instead, they explore. Women often ask carefully chosen questions to see whether you are a man they can move toward without feeling rejected, because here is the quiet feminine fear, especially with older men. If she shows her interest too clearly, she worries he will think she's needy. So she hides her attraction inside curiosity. She places it in questions that look harmless to a man who isn't paying attention. And if you do not notice them, she usually won't repeat the offer. Women rarely present the same emotional invitation twice. Feminine psychology is layered. Women use questions the way men use actions. When a man is drawn to someone, he offers help, direction, support, or protection. When a woman is drawn to someone, she asks a question that hints at closeness. There are endless questions a woman might ask in daily life, but only two appear consistently when she is gently exploring intimacy with a mature man. I will share them soon. But first, recognize something important. She does not ask because she's trying to pry into your life. She asks because she wants to sense your emotional warmth. She wants to feel, is he calm? Is he steady? Is he open to my energy? Does he stand in his masculine or hide behind politeness? These questions are not about information, they are about connection. They create a small pole between you and her. Think of them as emotional bridges. She places carefully to see whether you step onto them with presence. And when you do, everything shifts in her mind and her body. Most men respond to these questions at face value. But a wiser, more grounded man understands the deeper meaning behind her words, because when she asks them, she isn't collecting data. She is checking alignment. She is checking alignment. She is checking your awareness. She's checking whether you are the kind of man who notices things beneath the surface. When a woman is drawn to you, she does not need you to show off money, strength, or stories. She needs to feel that you are conscious, present, and calm. These two questions matter because they are not random curiosity. They are invitations. The first question she asks a man she desires is meant to uncover one thing: your availability. Not your calendar, but your heart. She wants to sense whether your life has emotional space for her. It is not a practical question. It is a psychological one. It is her way of saying, are you open or closed? Can you connect, or are you hiding in your routines? Can I come closer without the hidden psychology behind attraction feeling pushed back? Women do not like wasting emotional effort, so they test for openness before they reveal deeper interest. This first question is her version of a man leaning a little closer to see whether the woman leans in or steps away. But most men miss this completely because they assume she is just chatting. The second question she asks when she wants intimacy is about your direction. Not your goals or your career, but your inner direction. She wants to know if your life has purpose, movement, and masculine steadiness. Women do not open to men who drift. They open to men who are anchored. Men who know who they are and where they stand. This question tells her, is this man emotionally alive? Does he carry himself with stability? Can I feel safe around his presence? Does he have boundaries, or is he floating through life? The second question isn't about details. It is about your core. When she asks it, she is imagining what being close to you would feel like. A woman might feel drawn to a man's body, but she only moves toward him when she desires his presence. And this question becomes her doorway into sensing the man you truly are. These questions matter deeply for men over 50. By the time a man reaches his 50s or 60s, many women assume something about him. They believe he has already lived most of his emotional stories, so they hesitate to step into his life unless they feel certain they won't become just a side character. These two questions are soft, simple, almost invisible, are her way of checking whether there is space for her and whether the man she wants is living with purpose or just moving through life. You can ignore compliments, you can overlook body cues, but if you miss these two questions, you miss the moment a woman is trying to open a door, and once a door closes, most women do not open it again. When a woman wants intimacy with an older man, not just friendly conversation, but real emotional and physical closeness, she tests the way she is. She tests the connection with two specific questions. These questions repeat across cultures, ages, and backgrounds because they come straight from feminine psychology. Here they are. The first question: do you spend a lot of time alone? It sounds harmless, but it's not. It is her way of asking, is there room? First question: women always test for me in his world. Is he open or closed off? Does he have space for closeness, or is he locked inside his habits? Women ask it in different forms, like, do you usually go out alone? Do you keep to yourself? If you seem like a man who likes solitude, is that true? Are you seeing anyone or just doing your own thing lately? This question is never about loneliness. It is about access. A woman asks it only when she has already pictured herself in your space somewhere near your life. She is trying to learn whether you are welcoming or emotional, unavailable. If she did not feel anything for you, she would not care how you spend your time. But when she feels drawn to the stability and calm many mature men carry, she wants to know if she can enter your world without forcing her presence. Most men reply to literally, yes, I am alone a lot. No, not really. It depends. But a steady man hears the meaning behind it. She is checking your openness. She is testing your availability. She is seeing whether closeness with you is truly possible. To answer in a way that builds attraction, stay balanced, calm, steady, and open, but never needy. Say something like, I enjoy my space, but I'm always open to good company. Or, I like my routines, but I'm open to someone who adds something meaningful. This does two things at once. It tells her you are emotionally open without being desperate, and it gently hints that she might be someone you could let into your life. This tone is exactly what women want. open but not empty, receptive but not needy, and strong without being cold. When you respond this way, she feels warmth, possibility, and emotional safety. And that naturally leads her to the second question, the one that reveals her deeper interest. The second question is, what are you looking for these days? This question is never casual. It is not small talk. It is not simple curiosity. It is a woman exploring you as a romantic option. If she felt nothing for you, she would never risk asking something so direct. It feels too personal, too exposed, and too intimate. Women save this question for men they see as potentially meaningful in their lives. And again, she may phrase it differently. What do you want in your life right now? What direction are you moving in? What are you focusing on lately? What do you want at this stage of life? What are you hoping to find these days? Women ask this second question to understand your inner direction. For a woman to open herself emotionally or physically to a man, especially a mature man, she needs to feel something important. She needs to feel something important to sense that he knows who he is. He knows what he wants. He's not wandering through life. He's not stuck in old emotional stories. He's not just feeling time. He moves with intention. This question helps her see, is this man's life headed somewhere I could walk? Who powers safety and emotional leadership toward? Does he have emotional purpose, physical purpose, and relational purpose? Is he the type of man I could trust with my vulnerability? Men who answer too literally do not realize they are breaking the moment. When a man says, I'm just looking for peace, or I'm taking each day as it comes, or I'm not sure right now, she hears something else. She hears drifting, and women do not invest themselves in men who drift no matter the age. If you want to answer with masculine clarity, you do not need a long explanation. You do not need to reveal your whole life. You only need direction. You can say something like, I am building a simpler, stronger chapter with the right people, or I am looking for connection that feels natural, not forced, or I am focusing on living with intention, experiences, and meaningful moments. These kinds of responses do three things for her. They show you are moving, not stuck. They show emotional clarity that you know what you want, and they open a quiet space where she can imagine herself fitting into your direction. This is powerful for a woman. It gives her a signal. She hopes for proof that you are not emotionally asleep, because here is something most men over 50 never fully realize. Women want a man who is alive inside, not just physically present, but emotionally awake. These two questions are deeply connected to female desire, and here is why women do not test men randomly. They test based on emotional readiness. When she asks, do you spend a lot of time alone? She's measuring your openness. When she asks, what are you looking for these days? She's measuring your direction. And the logic is simple. A man who is open and moving with purpose creates emotional pull. He becomes someone worth leaning into. Women do not need perfection. They need clarity. Clarity gives safety, and safety awakens desire. This is why these two questions appear again and again, even if the woman does not consciously understand why she is asking them. Picture this in a real-life moment. You are talking with a woman maybe in a cafe, a bookstore, at a friend's place, or even online. The conversation feels smooth. There is ease, almost a soft tension. She laughs a little more than needed. She touches her hair. She looks at you with warmth. Then suddenly she asks, so do you spend a lot of time alone? This is her first emotional step towards you. It is her opening the door slightly. If you respond with presence, she feels encouraged. If you answer with confusion or shut it down, the energy drops instantly. Later minutes or days, she asks, what are you looking for? At the second question that defines attraction stage of your life. This is her second step. This is her deciding if she should go deeper. If you answer with clarity, she feels possibility. If you answer with uncertainty, she retreats. Then think these moments are random, but they are not. They are emotional checkpoints. And women almost never ask these two questions to a man. They do not feel something, for here is what you must never forget. A woman who wants intimacy will not say it openly. She will not confess it. She will not push herself on you. She will ask two questions. Are you open emotionally? Do you spend a lot of time alone? Are you emotionally alive? What are you looking for these days? These questions are not about your plans. They are about your energy. When you notice them, you enter the moment with presence. When you fail to notice them, the moment disappears. Women rarely offer the same emotional invitation twice. When they open a door, it is only once. If you remember just one thing, let it be this. A woman does not test your words, she tests your presence awareness. If you can recognize the question she uses to signal desire, you will never again wonder whether a woman is interested in you. Before you go, help this channel grow. Comment the phrase, "I see the signs below," to show you understood the message and are ready to use it. Your engagement helps this message reach more men who need it. Women communicate attraction in ways that are subtle, emotional, and often invisible to men who expect direct signals. What makes this especially important for mature men is that women see older men differently than they see younger ones. They expect more depth, more presence, and more clarity. A younger man can be confused, uncertain, or inconsistent and still be seen as figuring out his life. But a man over 50 is judged by a different standard. Women assume he has lived through enough experiences to know who he is and what he wants. That is why their interest shows up through emotional signals rather than obvious gestures. When a woman asks questions that touch your openness or your direction, she's not just trying to get information, she's trying to feel your emotional landscape. She wants to know if approaching you while Christmas isn't about what you have. Older men fail or pass these tests. It's about how deeply you see her, how fully you engage, and how intentionally you make her feel cherished. Christmas is not just about gifts, lights, or tradition. It is about presence, connection, and the subtle ways we make someone feel seen, valued, and loved. For a woman, the holiday can stir emotions more intensely than any other time of the year. It is about memories, expectations, and desires mingle, creating an emotional landscape that can be both beautiful and vulnerable. If you want to truly touch her heart this Christmas, it is not about spending lavishly or performing grand gestures. It is about 3 essential things that communicate understanding, care, and emotional intimacy. The first thing you must do is listen deeply, not just hearing the words she says, but feeling the emotions behind them. This often brings reflection on the year gone by, on hopes, on losses, and on joys. When you listen without judgment or distraction, when you tune into her tone, her pauses, and the unspoken undercurrents of her words, you create a sacred space for connection. Deep listening is not passive, it is active presence. It signals that her inner life matters to you more than the superficial trappings of the season. You can notice when a man is genuinely attentive because it reflects emotional investment.